Okay. Hi, everyone, out there in TV land. My name is Rich Louie. I'm a professor of physics at PLU and the current dual degree program director. I'm just going to chat with you tonight about the dual degree engineering program, which is run at PLU, and it's also run at other colleges as well. So let me just give you a quick outline of what we're going to be going through tonight. I'll try to keep it short and sweet and leave time for questions. Basically, what's the program? How does it work? And then really just, is it for you or is it for me? What are the advantages and disadvantages of a 3-2 program versus just going right into engineering school out of high school? And then again, because you have many choices of a 3-2 program, why would you choose PLU for the 3-2 program? And then finally, hopefully a lot of time for questions and answers. If at any time while I'm talking, you just have a question, please just raise your hand or write something in the chat, and our moderator will basically let me know in case I missed that. But I think I should see something on my screen if that shows up. So let's just jump right into it. So what is the dual degree program? And it's also called a 3-2 program. Essentially, you're going to end up with 2 degrees. One degree is a BA, a Bachelor of Arts in either physics or chemistry from PLU. Generally, you would choose the BA in physics unless you're doing something like chemical engineering or biomedical engineering. Then you transfer for 2 years to an ABET-accredited engineering school. That stands for the Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology. And there you could basically choose your engineering subdiscipline, and you take classes there for 2 years. PLU has 2 affiliate schools that I'll talk more about later. That's Columbia University in New York City and Washington University in St. Louis. So how does the 3-2 program work? Basically, the 3 is the first, second, and third years at PLU. And you take a bunch of classes. So 16 credits in math, that would be 4 credit classes, Calc 1, 2, 3, and what is sometimes called Calc 4, differential equations. Then you take 14 credits of physics. That's just a year-long sequence in physics, 4 credits each, and then the 1 credit labs to go with it. And then modern physics, which is an introduction to quantum mechanics and special relativity. Your chemistry sequence with labs. We also have an engineering course, an introduction to engineering, which will basically introduce you to all the different subdisciplines of engineering. You'll learn some MATLAB there, work with some 3D printers. And then there's also computer science requirement. And then finally, the general education requirements at PLU, things like your writing seminar, all your history, your religion courses, arts, diversity, all the general education courses. In those first 3 years, there are also some additional requirements. If you're doing the Bachelor of Arts in Physics, you would choose 12 credits or 3 courses from that long list you see there. If you're doing the chemistry Bachelor of Arts, then you have to go through the organic chemistry and physical chemistry sequence with labs. There's a couple of other miscellaneous requirements. Both Columbia and WashU have a GPA requirement, and Columbia also wants you to take economics. Assuming all goes well in those first 3 years, then you transfer to your partner engineering school for your 4th and your 5th years. That's the 2 part of the 3-2 program, and you only take engineering courses there. So again, you might wonder, well, why don't I just go to Columbia or WashU like right out of high school and just spend 4 years and get my Bachelor of Science in Engineering? Why would I want to start at a small liberal arts school? Well, first of all, there's a gentler transition. It's a pretty big jump from high school to a world-class university like Columbia or WashU. So you would get your feet wet with college work at a smaller place like PLU where there's a lot of support, and you'd have more time to think about exactly what you want to do in engineering by basically sampling different courses like physics, chemistry, computer science, financial engineering, things like that. Classes at PLU you're going to find are much smaller than if you went to a place like Columbia or WashU. When I TA'd at Cornell in grad school, our freshman physics class was about 350. So this past semester in fall 2022, I taught the first semester of the calc-based intro sequence, and we had 28 students. So quite a smaller number. And of course, your upper division courses are even smaller than that. At a place like PLU, all classes would be taught by actual faculty, many of them with terminal degrees. not by graduate students, as you might encounter in a research university. And the emphasis is on excellence in teaching. Uh, to be honest, it's probably easier to get into PLU than to get into Columbia right out of high school. So this is kind of a way to get admission to a world-class engineering school if your high school performance was not perhaps as strong as needed to just gain direct admission. Of course, if you might have the choice of being able to apply directly or going through the 3-2 program as well. So hopefully, I'm still giving you some options here. PLU has expanded liberal arts requirements. For that extra year, you'll be taking a lot of courses that are going to help you develop your reasoning, your writing, and your argumentative skills. And engineers with these strong backgrounds are likely to rise to leadership positions to be able to, hopefully do a little bit better in whatever career they choose. And of course, at the end, you're going to have 2 degrees in hand. So you might have the edge over somebody else who just has the straight up engineering degree, because you have all these other intangible skills as well. Some of the disadvantages. Let's get the big one out of the way right up front. It's an extra year. That's definitely time out of your life and extra money. PLU's financial aid program is separate from our partner engineering schools. So if you have PLU specific scholarships, they would not carry over. Of course, these schools have their own financial aid programs and their own scholarship programs. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. Your 3 years of PLU are going to be really, really packed. You're unlikely to be able to find time for a co-op program during the academic year. Whereas if you went straight to an engineering school, you'd have more flexibility there. And then it shouldn't be discounted that you're going to be moving from Tacoma to the engineering school. It could be all the way across the country. So there's obviously social effects there. You'll leave behind a group of friends. You have to make new friends, financial implications, just the mental effects of just, whole new place, whole new city. The 3-2 program students, though, do come in and they live in the same dorm. They have their own sort of academic support at the 3-2 schools. So there's that going for you. All right, as I said, PLU's 2 partners are Columbia University in New York City and WashU in St. Louis. Between them, they have pretty much any engineering subdiscipline that you'd want to take on. I should mention that even though you don't see, for example, aerospace engineering here, WashU has a master's in aerospace, and you can do a 3-3 program. So meaning you spend 3 years at PLU and you spend 3 years at WashU, and you'll get a master's in aerospace. So there's that to think about as well. Okay, so again, how many schools have a 3-2 program? I'm not going to BS you here. The answer is many. Okay, for example, Washington University has 110 undergraduate partner schools. PLU is one of those many, many schools. So I think as a parent, as a student, you'll be asking, why PLU in particular if I decide to do a dual degree program? Hope to give you a few convincing arguments here. First of all, our program is active. In just this past year, fall 2022, we sent 5 students to WashU, 1 to Washington State University, Wazoo, 1 to University of Hawaii. So every year we have students being sent to Columbia or WashU or some other engineering school. You can do the math here. If WashU has 110 partner schools, but they're entering 3-2 engineering classes, about 100 students, there are many, many partner schools that don't send any students in any given year to engineering school. Our program is very, very active, and every single year there's about a half dozen students, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes more, that go to engineering school. And of course, you do get to know your professors well at PLU. A little fun fact here, until the late 90s, PLU actually had a mechanical engineering BS degree and an electrical engineering BS degree. So we have the vestiges of that engineering program still at PLU. I think you'll find that there's a lot of direct transfer engineering courses at PLU versus other schools of our size. Meaning if you can take these classes during your first 3 years at PLU, and you don't have to take them in your last 2 years. So that can save you a little bit of time for more technical electives at the engineering school. Things like engineering probability and statistics, electricity and magnetism, or introduction to electrodynamics, math stats, math physics. I'm not even listing those on this sheet as well. Also, we like to believe that students are prepared for success at PLU. And again, since you're even thinking about engineering, you generally know that you want a proof of these things. You want some quantitative data. So I'd like to share a few things with you here. We've been associated with the 3-2 program for almost 50 years, and we have a nearly 100% graduation rate, meaning students who transfer finish their degrees. Besides our partner schools of Columbia and WashU, you can also apply to any engineering school that you want. You're not locked into our 2 partner schools. The transfer requirements, of course, are very, very well established between our partner schools and PLU, but students have in the past have gone to many different programs as well and gone to work in a lot of different places. Here's something I like to brag about a bit here. WashU awards a single full tuition Brown scholarship each year to an incoming dual degree students. As you can imagine, with 110 partner schools, this is a very competitive process. And this scholarship is full tuition based on merit, and there's a lot of students going after this. So in 2009, the recipient was a PLU student, Aaron Mosher. In 2017, the student you see in the photograph, Michelle Anderson, she was a recipient. That one year, they gave 2 scholarships, and there were 173 people applying for that from 92 different schools. And just this past fall, 2022, another PLU student won this, Sandy Montgomery. And all 3 of these students, of course, are either studying there right now, in the case of Sandy, or graduated with their degrees. So if you do the math here, I think PLU stands up pretty well to the other 109 partner schools that WashU has. And I remind you, there's only one of these scholarships awarded each year to what WashU considers the best qualified incoming dual degree program student. So I think if you bet on PLU, you're going to, hopefully find that you have a very good time here and that you're prepared for success. We've gone through the outline, and so this is the part where I just kind of stop and see if any of you have any questions about the program or anything I can possibly answer about engineering in general. My degree is in applied and engineering physics, and so nanotechnology, if that makes a difference at all. If you think of more questions later that you want to ask, I have my email, my name down at the bottom of the page there. But for now, I will just stop talking and see if there are any questions. Thank you for your attention. Hopefully, actually, I see something now. Oh, there is a question in Q&A. What is the process to apply to the other schools? Okay, thank you. Yeah, the question is, what is the process to apply to the other schools? Funny you should ask, because right this month, this very week, there's PLU students applying to the 2 schools. The applications come online in October in the case of WashU, in December in the case of Columbia. And essentially, what's very important in the 3-2 program is that you meet with the 3-2 engineering program director, like as soon as you get to campus, maybe even before, and make sure that you're taking the right courses, because there's not very much time to take all the courses you need to take before you transfer. In your 3rd year at PLU, you basically go through the online application process. It's probably very much like the college application process that you're thinking about right now, where there's a checklist of requirements that each of the schools has, and you have to get letters from professors. They want a letter from a science professor, one from a math professor, and also from the dual degree engineering program director. And the personal statement, again, it's very much like applying to college in the first place. They do look at your GPA at PLU, of course, and any other experiences you may have had. Well, I hope that all of you enjoyed this information about the 3-2 program, and you can think about whether or not any dual degree program is right for you versus just a 4-year physics degree or applied physics or 4-year engineering degree, or wherever your academic plans might take you. I hope I'd be happy to answer more questions by email to see if PLU is a good fit for you in your career plans and your vocational plans.